Hello everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of TV Talk. My name is Paco Turi, and today I'm joined by Laura Chapo.
Hey guys.
And so we've been playing a lot of the new collection for Super Mario Brothers 3D All-Stars.
Yeah.
We've been playing some of those games, and so that got us thinking what other franchises from Nintendo or others could have this kind of remaster collection. You know, of course, we've seen the likes of the Street Fighter 30th Anniversary or the Beat 'em Up Collection, the Mega Man Legacy. So a lot from Capcom. But, you know, it might be fun to talk about some of our thoughts of how they could handle them similarly or differently from the Super Mario series. So, Laura, why don't we start with you? What was your first series collection?
Sure. Mine was Star Fox. I would love to have a Star Fox collection similar to this. You know, a Nintendo 64 game in Star Fox 64, a GameCube game in Star Fox Assault, and a Wii U game, because there's no Wii game, in Star Fox Zero. I think that Star Fox 64 is a beloved game out of these three. Assault is probably an underrated one because people were kind of burned out with adventures, and then they didn't notice Assault that much. And then Star Fox Zero from the Wii U era, that some people love, some people hate. But I personally don't like it that much, but I think that with some touch-up in the control area, it could be really good.
Yeah, it's a very concise one because Star Fox doesn't have all that many games per generation, similar to the main Mario stuff.
Yeah.
But, and I understand perfectly, for example, skipping adventures. It's a completely different game, although it's still worthwhile because...
Sure. I mean, if it was this tree and adventure, I'll be perfectly fine with it, to be honest.
Right. Yeah, I think that it would be handled differently due to the rare situation, right?
Yeah, probably.
But why did you skip Star Fox Command on the DS?
On the DS, right?
Right.
Just because, you know, the Mario collection focused more on the home console games. I mean, they could have put maybe 3D Land in there. I know 3D World is releasing on the Switch now. Maybe I think there's not another 3D game. I guess 64 DS, which I would love to have included in the collection actually. So I kind of wanted to like translate it one-to-one into a Star Fox collection, mostly because of that. Yeah. But I agree. I mean, Command is a great game too.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, I feel like Star Fox Zero could be remastered more similarly to other Wii U games.
Yeah.
So that was like maybe my thinking. Maybe Command could come in, but you know, yeah, it's a great collection. Very cool games.
I also think mostly that Star Fox Zero gets a lot of hate. So even if with a remaster, I think that people wouldn't like jump into it that much, and by having it in a collection with a beloved game in 64 and also Assault, although it's a bit underrated, I think that more people would have the opportunity to play a game that maybe they otherwise wouldn't have played.
Yeah, that's a good angle actually. You know, Star Fox Zero, in my opinion, is criminally underrated. I mean, I saw very low sales and a lot of hate. So I kind of get the impression a lot of people are kind of blindly hating on it. But yeah, I think that those games deserve a second chance, especially Assault and Zero. So yeah, it's a pretty cool one. A collection that I would like them to see to make is the Pikmin 1 and 2. Maybe throw in something like Hey Pikmin, or as the extras include the shorts from Miyamoto. So they could do something like that. I would like them to incorporate both the controls from the Wii and the GameCube to kind of give people the option.
Right.
Similar to how you can play with the Pro or the Joy-Cons on Galaxy. As I understand it, I haven't played it myself so far, but But yeah, I think that Pikmin is a very good series, and we're getting Pikmin 3 very soon, in about a month from this recording. So
Yeah.
I think it would be really cool to have that complete collection. I mean, I know it's technically just two GameCube games. It's not as diverse or as complete as other collections that we've discussed or seen and will continue discussing. But I think that Pikmin is one that every game feels very definitive. So I think that you could make a very, very good like package out of those two.
Right. Yeah, I think that I haven't heard anybody that dislikes Pikmin that has actually played the game. Like most of the people who have, or all of the people who have played Pikmin, I've heard that they love it. So I very welcome this collection. I mean, yeah, if 3 wasn't on the Switch, I would include it in this one. And I think it's perfect, to have all 3 games on the Switch, because for me, that I haven't played all the 3 games like from start to finish, I would be interested in playing from the beginning, right? Because now with only 3 on the Switch, I'm not like really compelled to start on the third one. So if they would have a collection with the first and the second one, I maybe would be more compelled to get into it.
Yeah, on that note, I would say that Pikmin is a very good series to start anywhere.
Sure.
Like 1, 2, or 3. Just not Hey You Pikmin or Hey Pikmin. That not.
Hey Pikmin.
But
yeah, that's a very different game.
Yeah, but any of the 3 are very definitive, I'd say.
Sure.
And that's what makes me think, there's a lot of worth on playing those games even today, because it doesn't feel like the new one surpasses. Well, I would say that they surpass the previous ones on a lot of aspects. Everyone is unique enough to have it worthwhile on a replay. And I mean, any excuse to finally have Nintendo open the vault and release Pikmin 4, because
right.
I think it's been a solid 5 years since we've heard of its development. So
easily,
any excuse is worthwhile.
Yeah, so, and I think Pikmin looks really good even on the GameCube today, and we saw with the Mario Collection what it did for the looks of Sunshine. I mean, I think maybe some of the models look a bit old, but they look really, really good in the Switch. So I think that Pikmin on the Switch would look even better.
Yeah, I played them on the Wii U maybe 5 years ago or so, perhaps more. And they added like widescreen support and all of that, so they translated well enough to flat panel modern TV. So yeah, I think that they have kind of like the heavy duty work kind of already started. So yeah, it's probably an easier conversion than other games from that time.
Sure.
So what would be your next All Stars collection?
Yeah, my next pick would be another Mario one, a Paper Mario. So the original Paper Mario on Nintendo 64, the Thousand Year Door from GameCube, and Super Paper Mario from the Wii, right? Yeah. So those are my 3 favorite Paper Mario games, and I think that maybe including another one would be very different. Although I know Super Paper Mario plays very different from the first 2. But I still feel like it's the same Paper Mario, like it's the ending of that trilogy, sort of. And yeah, I would love to see it on the Switch.
Yeah, I don't think that the differences on Super Paper Mario would limit it in any way. In fact, I think that it might strengthen the collection, that you get 3 very unique experiences. Mm-hmm. And very similar to the Mario collection in that you have 1 per generation.
Yeah,
I think that's a good approach there. And also, as someone who has sacrilegiously not played Thousand Year Door, the Switch is the perfect platform to play an RPG. So now I'm all in for something like that. I mean, there's a lot of GameCube games, man, that have not seen any kind of official re-release.
Right.
And it's like they're approaching the 20 years of age. So yeah, you know, any time is good in Nintendo.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect
that,
time.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Uh, and I'm guessing that you would see them maybe AI enhance the original artwork, right? You wouldn't want them to unify it or anything like that.
No, I would want to enhance them. I mean, I think the three of them look really good even today because of the art style that they use. I think that it grew out really well. So like, I think it still looks fine. Just a touch up would be perfect.
Yeah, I agree with you. They look really nice even today. Uh, so the next collection that I would like to talk about is Kirby Collection. Now, at first I was kind of wondering if I should talk about spin-offs or main games.
Right.
But I guess main games are the ones that would make the more sense.
Sure.
And there is this kind of connotation to a certain series of Kirby that is a trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
That starts with, if I remember correctly, Kirby 3, continues with Kirby's Adventure. No, with Kirby 3. Then no, Superstar, no. But then it finishes with it's 2, 3, and then it finishes with Kirby and the Crystal Shards on the N64. So what I would like them to do is give us that final chapter, because I think that the Game Boy games will be part of a Nintendo Online system. So those two, we would be finishing that collection with this one, and then I'd like them to include the Wii game. I'm not so sure in which one of the 3DS games, but I'm gonna say Triple Deluxe, because that's kind of the one that has had the staying power in people's minds. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I guess that would be my 2.5D Kirby collection. You know?
So which three? I kind of got lost there. So the both Wii games and Triple Deluxe.
Wii game? No. No, it's Kirby and the Crystal Shards. It's on the N64.
Right, yeah.
Kirby Return to Dreamland on the Wii.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then the Triple Deluxe on the 3DS.
Oh, right.
I know that I'm missing Planet Robobot, but I don't know. Maybe included, maybe not. I mean,
sure.
Galaxy 2 was not included, so anything goes.
Yeah, because I also was thinking about a Kirby collection and was thinking of which one to include. Because Crystal Shards is already on the other collection, right? And I don't remember what was called, but the other Kirby collection that came out on the Wii.
I believe it's called the Dream Collection.
Right. Crystal Shards is on that. So I was thinking, should I include it or not? And I came up with pretty much yours, Crystal Shards, Return to Dreamland. But instead of a 3DS game, I put Kirby Air Ride. And I know that's kind of a spin-off, but I think it adds a different flavor to the collection, something different, a 2D game, a 2.5D game, and then a completely different one. So I think it would be cool like that. And if you want to make it even more different, you could even include Epic Yarn. I know that's another thing completely too, but it also adds variety to it. And I think maybe Kirby games don't stand that well on their own to include just 3 games. So maybe a fourth one would be cool too.
Yeah, you're right. I think I think I like your collection more because I like Kirby Ride more than Triple Deluxe. And yeah, it's one another GameCube game that we have not seen since it was originally released. So
right.
So yeah, I think it would be a really good opportunity to have that in the collection.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see how they tackle the Game Boy games, because Kirby is mostly, his legacy has been mostly on handhelds. Yeah. So I wonder if they would be including a Game Boy collection on the Nintendo Switch Online and have these classics there,
Yeah. There's different routes they could go with.
Right. So I guess that I should go with another collection. And
sure.
This is a short one, but it's the F-Zero collection. So in reality, F-Zero has kind of stopped since the GameCube, but we could have the N64 game in F-Zero X,
Yeah.
its expansion for the N64 DD, which added stuff like a track editor and things like that. Then we could also have the GameCube game, which is GX, and finally have the arcade game, which is F-Zero AX. Now, personally, I've never played AX. I've heard it's pretty similar, but it does have some key differences here and there. So, I, in general, would like Nintendo to release more of their arcade classics. So, if this is a good way to have it on the Switch, I'm all for it. And, maybe pick some interest on the F-Zero series, and maybe Nintendo will go, you know what, people are buying this thing, so let's make a new one, something like that.
Was GX the only arcade one, or was GX also on the arcade?
So, the way that I understand it, I could be wrong. I'll put an annotation somewhere here. But GX is the GameCube game, and AX is the arcade game. Okay. But they're essentially similar games.
Yeah, because I definitely played AX a lot. I mean, I couldn't really tell you the difference. I honestly don't remember that much. And I remember you could take your memory card and insert it in the arcade version of AX. I don't know what they gave you, or if it maybe just saved things for AX and like save your times on tracks and whatnot. But I remember you could do that. And yeah, I mean, having that game released on Switch consoles and more of the arcade games from Nintendo being released on consoles would be pretty cool, to see all the differences and whatnot. And yeah, I would really like Nintendo for them to notice F-Zero a lot. I mean, it's been, I don't know how much time, maybe more than 20 years, right, since GX, or?
No, more no, but I think 18,
yeah,
something like that, like 2002, 2003 was the last main entry. We saw like 2005 some Game Boy games, F-Zero GP Legend and F-Zero something Maximum Climax, something like that. But smaller games. And one of them was kind of a port of the original Super Nintendo game. So yeah, it's been too long. We need another F-Zero.
Yeah, for sure.
So what's your next collection?
So my next collection is kind of a tricky one, but it also translates into one each generation, and it's a Smash collection. The original Smash on Nintendo 64. Melee on the GameCube, and Brawl on the Wii. And I say it's kind of tricky because, there's like some version differences. For example, with Melee, there's an updated one in the PAL version, but people don't play the PAL version; they play the American version. So, maybe include both, and you choosing what version to play, sort of like what Street Fighter 4 does, and other games like that. And I think just porting the games as they are would be fine, and maybe just include an online option, and we're ready to go.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of the Street Fighter 3rd anniversary, where you have like all these versions of Street Fighter 2, all these versions of Street Fighter 3, and like you said, 4, which is not part of the collection, but it also has that option.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some precedent, something like that. So I mean, it's just a matter of Nintendo not messing up the online, because I think that game would benefit a lot from an online component. So yeah, if they did it right, I think it would be a really, really cool love letter to one of my favorite game series.
Yeah.
And they could include stuff like the music. Well, I guess every game already does that, but the artwork, the guides, stuff like that, kind of like memorabilia. Maybe
Right.
a short
That's cool.
documentary by Masahiro Sakurai, something like
That
that.
would be really cool. Yeah.
A little retrospective there.
Hmm.
They could go nuts.
And I guess that would leave not much to include for Smash because there's like Wii U and 3DS, which do have some modes that we don't see on Ultimate, but Ultimate is essentially like those games but better. But if they would ever like may include the Wii U or the 3DS version, I would just like them to like touch up on the modes like Smash Run, maybe make it online or whatever, and Smash Tour and make it online too.
Yeah, I mean, there's always gonna be that aspect of like the package that each game was.
Right.
For example, I think that Wii U had a little bit more extra features when it came to, for example, having the trailer of every new fighter.
Yeah.
I think that was really, really cool that it had that on the disc, which the Switch doesn't have.
Right.
And little things like that. I feel like Smash Ultimate is like very robust as a game, but as a kind of other things, it's lacking. Like trophies, the trailers that I mentioned earlier, things like that. So I think that Smash 4 might be worthwhile to port in its own way, but
Sure.
I do think that the collection would feel very much complete with those 3 games already.
Yeah, and they also have very different things, right? Because Melee has the adventure mode, and Ball has Subspace Emissary. Original Smash has board on the platforms. So each one has, the unique taste that didn't move on to the next game. That would be really cool to have.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that every game. I mean, it's hard to argue that every game is objectively better in many ways to the last one, but for example, Melee has had a pretty big staying power, and it's another game that has never had any kind of port. So
yeah,
I think that there would be the time to do it and to do it right.
Sure.
But yeah, I think that's. I want to say that that's a given almost. Maybe not on that form factor, but I do think Nintendo will be porting Smash games in some way in the future.
Yeah, let's hope.
So, a very different collection that I want to talk about is the Game & Watch series. Now, this would probably not be able to be played kind of ported like the originals because of how different the technology was. But we already saw on the DS the Game & Watch collection, I guess. Gallery was the one with the remakes, but the collection was the one with where they recreated the original artwork in digital form. But I think that something that would be very worthwhile is to do it in HD, because I feel like it would hide a lot of the pixelation that the DSi had, and it would make it feel very like real and organic. Not to mention much better sound and everything like that. I think that they could replicate a very analog experience, so to speak. Kind of like how we see that with Clubhouse games or the pinball games, like the thousands of pinball games that are on the Switch. I think that it would be really cool to capture that kind of chapter in Nintendo's history. Now, the big difference is that I don't think that 3 would cut it, because we're talking about minutes of gameplay on each one. But, maybe a robust collection, but a similar concept in that it's the Game & Watch All-Stars or Game & Watch Museum or something like that.
Right. Probably the whole library, right? How many games are on the Game & Watch?
Ooh, I don't know, but there are some that would be difficult to include because they had characters like Popeye and Mickey Mouse. But you could have a very, very robust collection there.
Yeah. I think Disney has been pretty good with the collections, right? With the Aladdin and Lion King collection, they they were fine with it. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities or whatnot.
Yeah, yes and no, because I don't know if they would like to share another spotlight. I don't know. Disney's kind of weird sometimes.
Sure.
But maybe if you catch them on a good day, they'll say yes. But include it or not, make it as comprehensive as possible. I mean, these games are pretty small as they are. And a Game and Watch collection, all-star thingy.
Sure, sounds fun.
How about you?
So my next one would be a Fire Emblem collection. This one is kind of difficult because there's lots of Fire Emblem games that we haven't seen, and there's not that much like home console games. So I included Path of Radiance, Radiant Dawn, and Awakening. The first two are like so hard to play nowadays because you cannot find the originals anywhere. Your only chances to like emulate them or something. And Awakening was a pretty popular one, right? The one that sort of brought back the Fire Emblem, and I think that of the latest trilogy, I guess, if you don't count the remake of Shadows of Valentia, I think it's the best one out of the three newest ones. I don't know what you think, but I think that having Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn again would be really cool, and I think that Awakening could be like sort of a way for people to play the other two because Awakening is a beloved one.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a very cool package, those three games, because I was kind of thinking, maybe if they went back to older games, but then you are kind of competing with the collections on the Switch Online.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty solid collection, and I almost feel like Fates would need to be its own collection, given that there are three versions.
Right.
So I think that's the one that makes the most sense, honestly, for Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, those are some gems right there. So. What would be interesting, in my opinion, is to see how they handled the 3DS emulation, because I think that with the Mario Collection we have a good idea. In fact, there's people that are like, these are probably like the beginning of a lot of ports. But the 3DS, it's an interesting one because we've seen a lot of approaches to it. We've seen the Kirby approach where they pretty much use new graphics on old games.
Yeah.
And then we've seen the Monster Hunter Generations approach where it's the same graphics, just like on a very, very high definition, and they look funnily polygonal on that context. So it would be interesting to see how they handle them. And I would love to see them in full HD, the cutscenes.
Yeah.
Because on the 3DS they do take a hit, but then you see them on the Fire Emblem Blu-ray, and this is what was hiding underneath that. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah,
so something like that would be really, really cool to see. So for my next collection, I would like to talk about Legend of Zelda.
Sure.
But it's a difficult one because
I think it's the hardest one, right?
Because where do you make the divides, right?
Right.
So I guess that the cleanest one, but the most boring one at the same time, is to do the Ocarina and Majora's Mask 2-pack and have them. So what I wanted to kind of dress up the collection with was to include both the N64 and 3DS versions. And so basically you have it kind of like the Master Chief Collection, where you can just press a button and change to the classic graphics. And you can change to have like the patches or play as the original game.
Right.
And so because since there would be 2 games instead of 3, I would say like make the packages more complete. And honestly, I've seen like emulated 3DS in high definition, and quite frankly, it looks pretty decent. So
Yeah, definitely.
I think that something like that could be pulled off pretty well, especially it's like all of the Switch kind of features are kind of accounted for.
Yeah.
For example, the touchscreen, kind of map it in some way, things like that. I think if they really wanted, they could pull off something really good with that. Of course, the alternative would be to go nuts and do like the N64, GameCube, Wii package. The problem with that is that we're looking at 5 games, and
that's so difficult.
And in my opinion, it would be better to just see actual ports for Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and finally HD remaster for Skyward Sword. So I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I was thinking hard on this because if we were to translate the Mario 3D Collection, I guess the games we would have to choose would be like the first one of each, so like Ocarina, Wind Waker, and Skyward, which is not like the best collection because I really would want to have Majora's in there, and Twilight, why not? So yeah, it's kind of hard because I think most people would be mad if you don't include Majora's. Probably not that much with Twilight, but definitely with Majora's. And if you include Majora's, like you're just missing one, so like why not include it too? But then you have 5 games, so it's like, is it like too good of a deal? So yeah, it's weird what they could do with this collection. I mean, I agree with you. I would much prefer that each of these 5 games gets its treatment on the Switch, and we get a full experience with that. But if we're talking about like a 3D All-Star collection, I think it's hard. I don't know if Nintendo called you up and tasked you with choose 3 games for the collection, what would you say to them?
3 games, like they have to be 3 games.
They have to be 3 games out of these 5, I guess. I mean, if you want to include another one.
So it's tough because I guess that I would go like the 3D Origins and just do Ocarina, Majora's, and Wind Waker. Like, screw it, just the first 3. Because any other way, you have gaps, I feel. Otherwise, it feels like, okay, this is an era of Zelda encapsulated here. Because if you have Skyward Sword, then why did you skip Twilight Princess? And if you skip Majora's Mask, which is one of the best Zelda games, it's sacrilegious, So I guess that's the way that you do it. You theme it around like the origins of 3D Zelda. That's how you do it.
How about having Ocarina, Majora's, and Twilight? Because I know that.
Do that. What?
Yeah, I know it's not the same Link in Twilight, but it's like sort of the continuation of that sort of like theming, because Wind Waker is very different. I mean, tonally and art style wise and whatnot, and Twilight is sort of a coming back to that style. So maybe that fits better for like a 3-pack trilogy, whatever.
That's a good point, and yeah, I guess that they could do it that way. It's just that, I mean, I understand the theming, but Wind Waker is as much of a sequel to Ocarina of Time as Majora's Mask is.
Sure.
In terms of like direct relation in the timeline and whatnot, but yeah, I guess that you could do that. It's just that then you would have like, why did you skip Wind Waker? Sure. You're back to square one. What they could do, I guess, is do like a 3-pack of the GameCube games and just skip the 3D theming altogether and have Wind Waker, Four Swords Adventure, and Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
That's still a weird collection to make.
They could do Wind Waker, Spirit Tracks, Phantom Hourglass.
Oh man, people would hate that. I mean, yeah, they would hate that because, I mean, it makes perfect sense in terms of the continuation.
Right.
But I don't know. I think people would be like, "You made a Zelda collection. This is what we get."
Yeah.
I mean, think back to the GameCube collection, which was well, it was Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask.
Yeah.
Like that was the last Zelda collection, and now you give this crap. Like what?
The collection only included Ocarina and Majora's?
There is another one. I mean, I think
there's a demo of Wind Waker, right?
There's the one with the demo for Wind Waker, and I think that's the one. And I think that there was also like the collector's edition or something like that, which had also Zelda 1 and 2, I think. Skipping A Link to the Past, weirdly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. So, yeah, I mean, the 2D games are already on the Switch Online, so those are no concern at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's an interesting one. So what I would do it again is port the like from the GameCube on, like do actual ports and do a collection of the Hero of Time. That's the way I think I would do it. That way you can remaster like 4 games actually. I mean, it's just 2, but it's 4 at the same time. So I think that would be a clean way to do it, and not that many people would get mad at you. You know.
Yeah. I mean, someone would be mad, but yeah.
Yeah, especially if like I don't know. Yeah, no, whatever. They'll find a way.
Sure.
But that's the Zelda collection.
Yeah.
What other collection would you like to talk about?
Guess I didn't really have another, but it occurred to me one. A Pokemon collection, but of the home console games. You know, both stadiums and Coliseum. I think would be a nice collection right there because people love the mini games in Pokemon Stadium. I mean, not long ago have gone back to them, and they're still really, really fun. And I think, you know, Coliseum is another one of those that hasn't seen a re-release or whatsoever. So yeah, I think it would be really cool. Like maybe, you know, if you want another one, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. I like that game a lot too. So maybe be included.
So yeah, it's weird because I think both the stadiums and both the GameCube games recycle a lot of content between them.
Yeah.
So I think that you could get away with a 4-game collection. In my opinion, you could do like the ultimate Pokemon Stadium, like retconning Pokemon Stadium 3, and have like the greatest hits of those 2, and then have the 2 like the Coliseum and Gale of Darkness. I don't know, what would you think of that?
Yeah, I think that would be like really nice, you know, having all those mini games in just one Pokemon Stadium. And yeah, because apart from that, there's not really much differences in Pokemon Stadiums in, you know, 1 and 2.
Yeah, so, like they just updated the roster with the new Pokemon. So
right.
So yeah, it does feel like it would make sense like that. But we'll see, I guess. You know, it would be pretty cool though.
Yeah, I mean, Pokemon Snap is coming back, so you will never know.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember that I always said like Pokemon Snap, and then like, do you think you asked me, right? Like, do you think that Pokemon Snap will be announced today? And I was like, no, not today. You know, it's been too long. And that was the time they announced it. Of course.
Yeah.
It's typical.
Yeah.
So, I guess that my final collection is a pseudo joke collection. It's the Super Mario 3D All Stars 2.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I wanted to kind of bring it up because a lot of people are mad that Galaxy 2 is not in the collection. So maybe have Galaxy 2 3D Land, and annoyingly Mario 64 DS. So I mean, you can see why it's a dumb idea to entertain, but that was kind of like something that I came up with when we were thinking of collections for this video.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, Galaxy 2 is in my opinion, better than Galaxy 1, and it's a shame that we don't have it on the Switch. 3D Land is a great game, and Mario 64 DS has some interesting content that is not on the original Mario 64. You know, I watched some gameplay recently because I didn't remember lots of the things that were changed in Mario 64. Like, I guess I took for granted. I didn't remember it was sort of a remake of Mario 64, and all of the things they added with the different characters and having their own abilities and even adding stages for each characters and having some mini games you could play. I remember playing a multiplayer with my friends, so I wouldn't be mad at all if they included Mario 64 DS on the Switch. You know, maybe as DLC to the collection. Although I don't think they're doing DLC, but if they would, I would buy it in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the quality of the games, I think it would be really cool. It's just that I feel like that's exactly what people would have wanted them to add to the first one. Like,
sure.
Why is Galaxy 2 not there? Why is it not bundled with 3D World? And why don't we get the new content from 64 DS? You know, on the port. So I kind of saw it from that angle. Why it would be kind of like an annoying collection to put out.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, in the actual quality of those games is absolutely there.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that I would mention is the analog controls on DS. But since they were programmed in the game for the touchscreen, I would be like, yeah, you know, just map that to the analog stick. It sounds simple to me. I don't know if it's actually even possible, but it sounds logical to me.
yeah, it does.
Yeah, that was like my kind of wrapping up my collection.
Yeah. Do you think they'll keep on making these sort of collections for other series, or maybe this was just like a one-off thing, and then they'll port their libraries in some sort of Nintendo online system or whatnot?
So, yeah, the reality is that I do think a lot of these will just be on the N64 virtual console, or not the Switch Online. I don't know how they'll handle GameCube and Wii. I do know that they've been selling them separately in other zones like China.
Yeah.
But I don't know how they'll handle them once they reach like America and whatnot. But the one that I do think might be coming as a celebratory collection is a Zelda one. I do think that we might be seeing the Hero of Time collection pretty soon. I mean, it's something that fans have wanted for a pretty long time, pretty much since the Switch came out. And it wouldn't make any sense to include the others because of the HD remakes. So yeah, the Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask 2-pack, and have both versions of each game, have like artwork, music, all that. And yeah, I mean, I think that those collections serve better as a small but concise thing rather than like 30 games and all are pretty poorly ported and whatnot. I mean, that's my take. I know that people complain a lot about the amount of games in the Mario collection, and these are like 2 games, so it's even worse. But in my opinion, like, do them right, you know. That's my take, I guess.
Yeah, I think that collection is most certainly happening. I think we will first see a Skyward HD or whatever, but I think eventually those will come surely.
I'm not so sure which one would come first, but yeah, I think one of those. I almost think that we would see first Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. I don't know. I think next year is the year because they pretty much have given enough. What do you want to call that? They've given enough like prenups or enough rounds around Breath of the Wild too. I think next year is a year where they have to kind of do that. But I think early in the year we might see like Twilight Princess or Wind Waker ported. I don't know. I get that impression. Just
me too. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes this year, even after Hyrule Warriors.
Oh, that I would be surprised because Hyrule Warriors is like November, right?
It's November, yeah.
Yeah, I would be kind of surprised because December is not that big of a month usually, right? It's usually November.
I think December, like at the start, I think Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was released on December because it missed the mark for the Game Awards. I remember. Was Smash released in December? No, right? No. Smash Ultimate?
Maybe it was. Let's see.
I think it was released in November actually, but yeah,
Xenoblade Chronicles was December 1st, like barely in December.
Sure. So, I mean, I could see it. I don't. What is Hyrule Warriors like? The last days of November, or what is it?
I think it's pretty much in the middle. Smash was December 7th, so barely December as well. But I don't know.
I could see them, riding the wave of Hyrule Warriors and vice versa. Even I don't know.
It's just that picturing like 2 weeks apart, 2 Zelda games feels too good to be true. To be honest, it sounds too good. Like, nah, they won't do it. I mean, if they did it,
Mario year too, right?
Yeah, in the Mario year too, actually, yeah. I think that Zelda is next year. Because Zelda turns 36 next year. So, yeah, I think next year might be the year for Zelda.
Sure.
Because Samus doesn't exist in terms of anniversaries.
Nintendo. Yeah.
They never remember Samus's birthday. But I digress. So I guess that wraps up this discussion, right?
Yeah.
So guys, thank you so much for joining us for this discussion, and do let us know what collections do you think might be happening from the ones that we talked about. Which ones have you come up with, or do you think that the Mario collection was a one-time thing? Do let us know in the comments below. This is Paco Trevino, and today I was joined by Laura Chapa.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Until next time, bye-bye, guys.